How's it going, everyone? Welcome to TheBlueShifting, and yeah, you're actually gonna hear a additional intro because I done goofed. There's a goof I haven't done in a while, but it happens occasionally. Sometimes the camera that records like my face and everything doesn't quite activate. And normally I catch it because there's like lights and indications to let me know, but occasionally I get so caught up in the recording and maybe other stuff that's going on in the background, and I totally goof it and mess it up. So unfortunately, that's what happened today. So yeah, sorry to say, but there's no webcam for this one. No face cam, at least. I still think it's a great episode. I'm not going to be too stressed about it. And I definitely, when these things happen, I really, really don't like trying to re-record because then you're losing a lot of that genuineness. And like, I either have to try and remember stuff to bring up, or like it just comes off feeling different. And like, I also just, I'm not the person who's ever going to fake that. Like, I feel like it's silly to be like, this is totally my first time seeing this. Like, there are a lot of YouTubers that actually do that. And I feel like I can tell most of the time. And I also think that particularly you, if you're watching this, you're most likely watching this because you want to see what my reactions are. And so even when I have an issue with something, I usually prefer to just tell you that. So this is going to be an episode without me in the corner. It's unfortunate. A lot of people don't really care and actually prefer it without like the face cam, but you also have to understand that there's a lot of mechanical reasons to go behind it. I think it helps to have like a stronger emotional connection. Personally, I also think that it's something that a lot of the companies I've worked with in the past, whose content I'm featuring, have expressed that they prefer it this way with like the face cam because it helps distinguish this as a transformative content rather than just a re-upload. So again, there's a lot of justifications for it, but regardless, today you're not getting that. So hopefully it doesn't diminish. I hope you still enjoy it. I hope you have as much fun as I did because I genuinely had a lot of fun with this one. So I'd love to see what you think about it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's just jump right to the content. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. I hope you're having a good Friday so far, and hopefully this makes it an even better one. Well, I don't know. I'm looking forward to today. So we've got the stage setup. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but everyone has gone back to their families or to visit families of other people for like a bit of the break. We're going to have 2 whole weeks where it's just literally Yuuji and Michiru. I kept wanting to say Yuya because, again, I'm cursed to have 2 series playing with main characters whose names are Yuya and Yuuji, and I always want to mix them up. So Yuuji and Michiru all together by themselves on the campus. I mean, I'm guessing that the principal's still on campus, but that's pretty much going to be it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. And even from like some of the comments you were making last time, I'm guessing it's going to be really interesting. And having become quite the fan of Michiru and her antics, I'm sure this is just going to be it's just going to be either a barrel of laughs or it's going to get really interesting with like Dark Michiru and Light Michiru. And I wonder if we're going to be able to start seeing the play between the two, especially because now, since we're the only ones here, when Dark Michiru manifests, I'm guessing she's going to just be herself rather than pretending to be Michiru, Light Michiru, which is going to be really interesting because maybe we'll get an idea of just how often they end up switching out. And that's what also I'm curious about too, because it seems like Dark Michiru is aware of everything that Light Michiru is doing. But when Dark Michiru is in charge, Light Michiru kind of goes into the oblivion and doesn't know what's going on. And I wonder if we're going to explore why that is. So, and also maybe why they do this whole thing, like why they even split like that. I can't wait. Anyway, let's jump right in, shall we? As I'm setting out for my daily marathon the next morning, I discover a strange little scene. Michiru sulking around in an area in the blatantly suspicious fashion. And there's the tag-along cat. She scuttles around the courtyard, keeping low and hugging the wall like a cockroach, shooting cautious glances all around her. Even for her, this is a fishy behavior. In particular, the black cat riding on her head adds to the distinctly surreal flavor. I'm sincerely glad the girl was born well past the witch hunting era. I decide to observe in an effort to determine her objective. So, she's either trying to sneak around to avoid us, or more likely she's kind of spying on us and doing a terrible job of it, I'm guessing that's mostly because Yuji's like, he's hyper aware of this kind of stuff. Aww, kitty meow.
静かになさいね、こにゃ。にゃー。だから今はちょっとそれどころじゃないの。さささささ。ささささささささささ。
The sneakiest tactic, to make sneaking sounds while you're sneaking. What's she even doing up at this hour? I did once observe her heading for the sea around this time, but I'm pretty sure she was looking for her cat. At that moment, the cat animal in question is firmly perched on top of her head. In other words, there's something else going on here. Perhaps this strange behavior might not be the usual Michiru. I don't mean that in a figurative sense. I mean other Michirus emerged. Dark Michiru. No, that doesn't sound like Dark Michiru. The exact nature of this little ceremony is unclear to me, but she's wandering around the area restlessly, making freakish little noises. The girl's never exactly normal, but this is particularly odd. Might it be the other one after all? Michiru, my friend. Good morning! I'm impressive vertical. Michiru jerks up into the air with a shriek of surprise, retreating to a good meter in a single bound.
Kazama Yuuji, naze koko ni?
Right back at you, Mutsushima Michiru. What are you doing up at this hour?
それはあれだ、Kazama Yuuji.
Why are we so formal?
私は外の風に当たりたくてここに来たのだよ。
Right. And the fact that your language immediately devolved into staccato, barely sentences, just denotes your abundant, certainty in the matter. There's no win today.
むふなっちゃって。それじゃあ私塾があるんで。
Oh, cram school at 5 in the morning. Very zealous. What's the name of this early bird educational facility, if I might ask?
朝5時ゼミナール、略して5ゼミ、あるいは朝ナール。
5 an hour, very nice. That sounds like it could be an actual company name nowadays. So that's a lie, right?
嘘です。
Hey, at least she didn't try too hard. Then what's really going on here?
なんでもないの。本当になんでもないんです。だから許してください。帰ってください。
Have mercy, please leave. Weird. Well, this certainly isn't the normal Michiru, but it doesn't feel much like the other one either. Don't tell me this is the rival of Michiru 3. Oh no. We got Dark Michiru, Light Michiru. Would this be lukewarm Michiru?
お願いします、風見さん。ここから早く立ち去ってください。ここは危険なんです。だから早く。
Oh my gosh. Maybe I've just finally discovered the connection that's made me really like Michiru from get-go. She's starting to channel some real Ferris from Steins Gate energy here, where now she's starting to live in a self-actualized nerd world. Try telling me what's so dangerous. If I'm convinced, I'll do as you say. He just call out.
もし地震が来たら揺れるし、そう、すげえ揺れるし、震度によってはびっくりするぐらい揺れるし。
Right, because that wouldn't be at any risk to you, but to me, absolutely I need to be careful. My socks are immediately endangered. That applies equally anywhere. Anything else?
あと、火事の時は燃えるし、親父がすげえ燃えるし、たくさんの親父がすげえ燃えるし。
According to this logic, a fire starts in a building, and all the old people start running around the streets causing a ruckus because of it. Ironically, probably true. My experience has been with older generations that they are entirely convinced that they know better how to fix a problem, and thus would actually get in the way of people who are trying to actually solve the problem rather than actually getting out of the way. But again, that's a pretty extreme response to a hypothetical Michiru. I think you're gonna have to try for swing number 3. We're getting nowhere. I think it's time to explore alternative strategies. Let's try going straight to the point. Tell me why you're really out here, and who are you?
私は私でしょ。何言ってるのよ。もう、だから、もう、ペペペ。
Pet, pet, pet. Good lord, she started spewing saliva in my general direction. Oh, she's actually spitting at us. What the gross? This is really the way a young woman acts these days?
ペペペペ
Dude, stop
ほら
that!
猫にゃもにゃ
Oh gosh, she's wielding nature against us. Cease this disgraceful waste of bodily fluids immediately, maggot. Even if the god of hydration forgives you, I never will.
もうだって本当に帰ってほしいんだもん
Okay, calm down, tantrum girl. It is starting to get a little, like, frustrating. You could just, you know, ask. Her strong front quickly crumbles into a cramped, desperate grimace. The girl is about ready to burst into tears. I suppose withdrawing would be the gentlemanly thing to do at this point, or even slightly before it, honestly. Alright, understood. In that case, I'll be...
いいから帰りなさいよノー挨拶ノーライフ
Okay. Right. Alright then. I'll see you later.
だからなんで挨拶すんだよバカ
Okay, calm. Jeez. But in the end, that behavior was simply too unnatural to ignore. I temporarily returned as far as the courtyard, but soon doubled back to observe Michiru from a distance. I mean, granted, yeah, who wouldn't? Beginning from the prostrate position, I advanced with the standard JSDF low crawl in the vicinity of my target, as if choosing a sniping point. I moved to the location that affords good visibility of the scene whilst providing me with optical... Alright. With optical cover. Alright, this should do nicely. A view of the scene is unobstructed, and I have a clear escape route secured, and the ideal observation spot.
まったくなんでこんなタイミングで
Alright, so what's she up to? Even as she wanders around complaining about me, Michiru's petting the cat on top of her head. An abnormally dexterous woman, if nothing else.
みちる様お待たせしました
Oh, I thought Sachi was gone already. Oh, this pattern is interrupted by the unexpected arrival of Sachi. Does she have some knowledge of Michiru's secret purpose?
そんなに大声出さないでよすみませんでは小声で例の
Ah. Alright then. Color me intrigued. I think I have some interesting ideas. I'm probably way off mark, but you know, you can't help yourself, especially with this game. This game is quite lewd, so,
にゃにゃにゃにゃそれはほらちょっと待って深呼吸してから
Maybe my guesstimations aren't too far off. The item seems to be a bartering session of some kind. I've heard that dedicated smugglers are a common phenomenon in prison. Does the same system exist in this school?
あーにょにょみちる様落ち着いてください大丈夫ですか
She's gonna die!
大丈夫よモロチンよ
Balls swell, huh?
モロチンよあれモロチンよあれ
Yeah, saying it louder means you'll get it right.
落ち着いてくださいもちろんですよねそれだと卑猥な単語を連発している欲求不満 OL 京子の淫乱ブログみたいですよ
Yeah, and I don't know what Kyoko's blog is supposed to be, but I'm in the know enough to kind of follow along.
誰よ京子って
Oh, this is like someone asking like, the kind of like when you bring up the hub and people are like, what? What are you talking about? It's like, we all know. Everyone knows. Everyone.
わかりません榊さんのブックマークで見ただけなので京子の素性までは
Okay. Yep, it is the hub.
そうでそのあのねこんな時間に呼び出して悪かったわねはい大丈夫ですよそれで頼まれていた品物をご用意しましたので
Yes, yes, yes.
そう、
Oh.
それでその
Shocking to think I'd catch my own classmate red-handed for the sake of their futures. It'd be best to stop this now. Why did the music cut out right there, though?
そうそれでそのうほん
Okay, I thought I might have missed something there, but okay. Nice try, punks! An unregistered gun deal on my beat? You got some nerve. Hands behind your head and kneel. Oh, Yuuji, oh no. Oh no.
Hi.
Sachi falls to her knees and the dirt is instructed. I walk up behind and wedge her thighs apart with my foot. Alright, no funny business. Spread those legs.
はい。開きます。
Sachi, no!
ちょっと、なんであんたがいるわけ？もう帰ったんじゃないの？
Silence. You're 10 years too young to be dabbling in black market weaponry sales, you rank amateur. Hurry up and kiss the dirt.
誰が闇取引よ？そんなことするわけないでしょ。
But Sachi's obediently following my instructions, isn't she? She always does, you idiot.
それはいつものことじゃない。
Now that you mention it, so she does. But if guns aren't involved, then that would leave a drug deal. Alright, a methamphetamine test seems warranted. Good, man. Go straight to the core of the problem. Because that's actually probably one of the most brutal ones you could find. Stay where you are while I wait for the kits. Prepare for a urine test.
はい。
Sachi's like, yes!
はいじゃないでしょ。どっちでもないわよ。合法なことしかしてません。
That's what if what she says true, Sachi.
はい。みちる様も私も非合法なことはしていません。
I see. Sorry about that. You can raise your head now.
はい。実はみちる様に雑誌を購入してくるように頼まれたんです。しかも受け渡しはきっかり5時にこの場所でと。
Magazine. Interesting.
余計なこと言わなくていいのよ。
Buying a magazine? Surely you can handle that much on your own, Michiru.
いや、そうなんだけど、
Again, this is kind of, I think, most likely like showing the age of this content where, like, it's not like it's that old, but it really was not too long ago where a lot of people would struggle to have ready access to the more perverted side of the internet. And even that access you could have was likely heavily restricted, especially on a school campus where it's very likely that internet traffic is being monitored and being, you can be held accountable for. So if you wanted to have some clandestine materials, it most likely was still best to get it in physical form, which also usually meant you had to go to very specific stores. Yes, I think I see where this is going.
なんでも意識したら買えなくなってしまったようです。
Awkward? What's awkward about it? Explain.
これが頼まれたものです。
Oh no, Sachi. She's like, no! I take the magazine from Sachi. The cover is nauseatingly sparkly abomination featuring the prominent headline, Beloved Barrette Beautification, an outfit straight from the marvelous military. Oh, this isn't at all what I thought. It's like a fashion magazine. What is this thing? Okay, forget the rest for now. First things first, I need to annihilate this company.
倒しますか？手で行きますか？
Honestly, probably. That sounds about right. Bare knuckle justice, alright? Sachi, let's go. We're gonna bring down the company with our fists.
はい、手で。
Why does she just go with it?
待ちなさい。どこに行くのよ。まだ5時よ。
Ah, true. Lapse in judgment on my part. Well then, what's this rag supposed to be?
みちる様がユージって女の子がどんな服着てたら喜ぶのかしらねと私に相談してくださったんです。
Oh, that's actually really cute. Oh no!
私はいろいろ考えました。デザインよりも機能性を重視したアイテムを好む風見さんですから、きっとミリタリー系が好きなんじゃないかと。
Oh, now I actually feel genuinely bad. I'd be like, crap.
それ以上はこういった雑誌があることは知識として持っていたので買ってきたわけです。ですが人に見られたくないということでその結果が今の早朝取引です。
Sachi's a diligent worker, but I would never trust her with any like important details. Like she's the kind of person who would like casually you could you give her a job where she has access to top secret information. You'd casually take her out for drinks at a bar, and she would just sit there, and if you just asked her the right way, she would tell you literally all the secrets that she knows. Like Sachi, bless your heart, but oh my gosh, you need to stop. Oh, poor Michiru.
でも風見さん本人がこうしてやってきたのですから、もう雑誌は必要ありませんね。直接聞けば解決ではありませんか。
No, Michiru, she might allow the conversation to happen at this point, but that's just because internally she's just probably dead. In fact, maybe this is going to trigger a swap because, like, maybe, like, Light Michiru is just wanting to die right now.
はい。
Yep, there she goes.
風見さん、女の子の服で好きなものってありますか？
Not particularly.
なるほど。みちる様、これと言ってないそうですよ。答えが分かってよかったですね。はい。どうもありがとうございました。
She might not be, she's not fully like switched or anything, but she's in stunned like shock mode.
では、私は出発の準備がありますので、失礼いたします。
Aww. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Her face bright red, Michiru bites her lower lip and quivers visibly. I don't quite understand the situation, but she also seems to be perspiring heavily. A stomachache, perhaps? Sure. Whatever, buddy. Michiru, my friend.
なんですか？お腹は痛くないですよ。
Hey, she's learning. That's a fact.
はい。
Utter silence. Michiru refuses to even make eye contact. Michiru, let me ask you something.
なんですか？
What exactly is a beloved barrette?
うるさいわね！そんなの知らないわよ！あんたのために雑誌見て参考にしたりとか、そんなんじゃないからね！
Alright, so she wanted this magazine. Now, the question starts to become, did she want this magazine initially and it just happened that she wanted to make sure she got it before Sachi left? Or is this implications that Michiru was really hoping that in these 2 weeks she was going to be able to make progress on her apparent crush? Poor... God. I can already see now that these two, if they were actually to try and get into a relationship, it's gonna be so aggravating because they're both so dumb in some of the silliest ways. Where like, they're not dumb, like they're both intelligent people. Like we've seen Michiru being smart, both Dark and Light Michiru. We've seen Yuuji being very, very intelligent. But when it comes to stuff like this, it's like they're both firing on completely opposite directions. Where like Yuuji has such practical and just down to earth like sense of confidence and determination to like get to the heart of matters. It's very, very healthy and very like it's very good. But Michiru, where she's really good at like trying, like she kind of just has to avoid a lot of stuff that causes her stress, and she's not great at acknowledging uncomfortable things. She also does have a better grasp and understanding of like emotional stability and relationship type of like ideas. Like even if she's never been in a relationship, she understands fundamentals of relationships. She understands like what she wants, and like she's clearly like trying to like, you know, figure out what she's going to do in the future. She's not just sitting back and like letting things happen. But because they like the two of them don't have any overlap in these areas, it's almost like It's like somebody trying to use sign language to talk to a blind person. It's like they just aren't communicating in wavelengths that the other can understand. What? Stop that! Then marvelous military it is. I pick up the abandoned magazine, jot down the address of a certain rotten publisher with an insufficient respect for the gravity of military affairs. A few hours thereafter, everyone who's leaving for summer vacation gathers in the courtyard outside the dorm.
それじゃユージ、あとはよろしくね。
The rest of what?
お兄ちゃん、お土産いっぱい持ってくるからね。私は日記以外の八つ橋なら何でもいいわよ。
Why are you so angry?
わかったのよさ、うるさい金髪ね。ちょっとマキナ、これから出かけるんだから喧嘩しないの。だって私じゃないのよ。こいつがうだうだ言うから。
She just doesn't like cinnamon.
言ってないでしょ。そんなに感じ悪かった？いやまあいいけどさ。それじゃあ行ってくるのよさ。
Mikey was like, let's just go, I'm bored. Watch your backs out there.
寂しいだろうけど、なんとか我慢してね。
Aww. After throwing a kiss, the girls saunter off. Makina follows in her wake, a remora to a Mane shark. That's a great analogy.
私もそろそろ失礼させていただきます。あの雑誌はお役に立ちましたでしょうか？わー！それはもうとっても役に立ったからね。だからもうね、早く行ってらっしゃい。
Like, yes, get out of here.
早く。みちる様、お部屋の掃除でお困りになりましたらご連絡ください。この小峰幸、一旦この地に戻り次第みちる様の部屋の掃除を遂行。その後また戻らせていただきます。
Why are you talking so fast?
早い。そんなことしなくていいからゆっくりしてきて、ゆっくり。
Please relax.
はい、わかりました。では行ってまいります。もちろんお土産も用意しますからね。
I have to know someday, is what's Sachi like at home? Because here she's got the maid, like class president personas going, but what about at home? It seems like she usually ends up taking a reflective stance based on what she perceives the expectations and what would be most like bring the most happiness to those around her, right? Like I feel like I still have my belief that that's like kind of like a way of putting up walls and being able to protect herself. And if that's the case, what does she believe brings the most joy when she's at home? I'm guessing dutiful daughter for her family, but like what does Sachi, the dutiful daughter, look like? It's interesting. Not to worry, Sakaki, I don't need any souvenirs.
何よ、その言い方。私だってちゃんと買ってくる常識ぐらいあります。
由美子のお土産ってどんなの？
どんなのって、至って普通よ。暗闇で光る骸骨のキーホルダーとか、そういうの。
Okay, you can lean into the goth girl for quite heavily, it seems. Sounds pretty normal.
でしょ？だから心配しなくていいのよ。いいタペストリー買ってくるから。
She goes,
それじゃ。
her scale is so broken. Her scale is a little like dollar store keychain and a tapestry, which is gonna be like thousands of yen. Michiru, your room was pretty dreary, come to think of it.
そんなことないでしょ。私の部屋にタペストリー飾らせようとしないでよ。あれでしょ？あの観光地で売ってる変な三角のやつ。
Triangle flag things. I mean, they kind of have those at United States stuff, because like that's when we fold our flag when it's in its like respect, because like there's a lot of respectful ceremony that goes around like to showcase the flag. It was something I learned when I was in Scouts, and I don't know very much about other nations, but most of the time when they fold up their flag for storage, it's usually in rectangles, but the one that we adopted is like in a triangle format. You fold it in half, fold it again, and then you go like in crisscrossing triangle shapes until you get to the stars, and you tuck in the last part so it like becomes a triangle of just the star pattern from the corner. So that's my only that's the only thing I can relate to weird triangular flag shapes they sell at tourist traps.
変？
いや、粋なやつ欲しいな。5枚ぐらい欲しいな。
松島さんに6枚と。それじゃ。
Bye. Good for you, Sakaki's got a kind sign, doesn't she? Seems like she's going to buy you one more than requested.
とっさに適当なこと言わなきゃよかった。
Yeah, unfortunately, that shouldn't. Alright, might as well head back to the dorm. We'll be alone for a while, but there's no reason this has to disrupt our normal routine. Huh? When I turn to gaze on Michiru, I discover that her cheeks have flushed an alarming shade of red. Running a temperature, perhaps? What's wrong? Again with the sudden fevers? You really should consider seeing a doctor.
大丈夫。そうね。普段と変わらずに行きましょう。よろしく。
She doesn't want it to be just business as usual. This is like, I mean, and this, to be fair, like, especially if you're on the Shire or just like, you just don't know what to do on the romance side, this is like the perfect time for something to happen, right? Like, you couldn't prepare a better opportunity. And so she probably wants to like see if she can make things progress somehow, but like, how? Not only is this difficult for a normal person, but we're talking Yuuji here. Like, how do you even approach this borderline psychopath? Fine. Really? You're acting pretty strangely considering.
おかしくないもん。じゃ 私先に部屋に帰ってるわね。それじゃあ。
With those two words, Michiru clomps off to the dorm in a repeat of her imitation goose-stepping march. At the same time, I thought a fairly casual conversation, but that was a misjudgment on my part. Michiru spent the rest of the day holed up in her room. That wasn't too alarming, but the exact same thing happened the next day. Struck me as odd. Still, I figured the girl had her reasons. In the end, Michiru didn't even show her face until a little after noon on the third day. Maybe she's waiting for you, buddy. I'm lounging around reading a young adult novel by the name of Bun Dunquino. When I spot Michiru out of the corner of my eye, she's hovering awkwardly at the edge of the lobby. Aww. Her voice is too quiet for an attempt at getting my attention. Perhaps I should just ignore her? It's kind of reminding me, like, I think all of us go through the awkward, like, I want to see if we can even, like, potentially, like, move along a path of, like, progressive relationships. And everyone's a little different about it. She's closer to what I was, but I also, at the same time, I've always been kind of a social... I navigate social waters fairly well. Not great, not eloquently. I'm not like something... I was never like super popular or able to just get things done, but like I just understood and could read the room really well. I also could read people really well, and generally was able to kind of like have a measure of control. So even if I were around, like say I was interested in a girl and had a decent opportunity to potentially maybe try and ask her out on a date, it would be really difficult for me to get to that point per se, but it wouldn't be from a lack of conversing. Like I'd be able to walk into the room, say hi, like hold a conversation, but then I wouldn't know where to go from like hey, we're here, we're friendly, hanging out, and try and get to that like date. I also it was interesting because like casually asking someone on a date wasn't too difficult for me, but if it was somebody who I genuinely was hoping I could like start a relationship with, I get really like stun locked, because even though it's the same question, the same starting point as all dating, it feels a lot more intense when it feels like there's so much on the line, especially when it's like someone you know really well already. Because that's the difference. Like casual dating is one thing where like you meet somebody and like after like meeting a few times, you're like, I think it'd be kind of fun to go on a date with this person, see where it goes. That's a whole different game to I've known this person for 4 years and I really like them, and I'm terrified that if I do this and it goes poorly, that I'm gonna lose someone who I consider a close friend. That's terrifying. Granted, that's still not this situation, but she's probably on that same line of feeling as I would be, where she's never had a genuine crush that's gotten to the point where we kissed her, right? So it's like she'd really like to see where that could go, and does no clue how to approach it, let alone approach Yuuji. Aww. Then again, she's finally left her room for the first time in days, so I suppose the basic social etiquette would dedicate approaching her on my own initiative. What's wrong, Michiru? Need something? My greeting was somewhat abrupt, but Michiru responds with an instant shriek of rejection. Pretty impressive reflexes. I see. In that case, I'll return to my reading. Aww. She's just stun locked. If she's got something to say, why not just spit it out? It's never easy with this girl. After 3 full days shut in her room, this is all she has to say? What's her deal anyway? Not that I really care, so long as she doesn't interrupt my reading. I find the page where I left off and return to the world of fiction. But soon enough, I'm emphatically ejected from that pleasant refuge. Specifically, she slaps the book out of my hand. I could have dodged, but decided it'd be best to let the girl do as she pleases. Interesting. Oh! She swapped. That's what's going on. Cat's gone, and I think she's changed over. At the moment, I'm thinking about picking up the book that just fell to the floor.
何あの態度。何なの？バカなの？偉そうにしちゃって。もしかして大王気取り？
One thing I really like about Dark Michiru, she just calls us out.
あれか。イカのつもりか。いい夢、イカ気分か。
You finally show yourself. I'd really like to know who you are this time.
何度言わせるの？私は私でしょ？
Michiru points next to where I'm sitting, then roughly drops before I can say a word in response. Her, you don't like that? Then how about this too? Attitude reminds me of a combined forces assault.
でね、ユージくん。君ね、女心分かってないな。
It should be abundantly clear that we understand a lot, and that's one of the things that's furthest from our understanding. That sounds like it's going to be a lengthy discussion. Maybe I should make some coffee first?
いらない。あのね、知ってる？この子はさっき声かけるまでに何十回も部屋で練習してたのよ。で
Aww.
も結局緊張でできなかった。
Aww. She was in her room practicing how to try and ask him, essentially to ask her out. Because remember, we're also coming from a very cultural perspective of like the guy should be making the first move. We kind of have though, but then we didn't do anything else. And so she wants something to happen, and she's been hoping things would happen, but nothing's happening. So now she feels like she has to take the initiative to make things happen. And she spent days practicing, and when the time came, she just was sitting in the corner, sputtering to herself, trying to figure out how to actually go about doing it despite all the practice. And we just come up and just shattered that. Oh man, Yuuji. Insufficient effort on her part, clearly. Guess she'd better practice more.
違う。全然違う。そういうことじゃないよね。つまりさ、緊張して、ドキドキして、声がかけられなかったわけ。
Well, I feel nervous at that point. We're hardly strangers. We already cleared up the unpleasantness between us. Surely there's nothing to feel awkward about. Oh, you suck.
君がそうでも、この子はそうじゃないの。だから女心がわかんないって言われんのよ。
Interesting. This is the first time we're seeing like a blush from Dark Michiru. But I don't think it's a blush of like embarrassment. I think she's genuinely seething with rage. Like, she's clearly very ambivalent and very much like kind of like aloof, you could argue. But here she seems almost genuinely pissed off. Like, she was frustrated before, but like that was mostly because like she was kind of involved inadvertently with what happened. Like, and so she's like, look, we gotta at least clear the air here because I've now made a mess because I misjudged what you would do because you're an idiot. And now she's here like, look, she's trying really hard and you're completely destroying any of her efforts and just missing the point. Why are you being an idiot here? Because she's like genuinely almost like, she's getting upset at this. I really don't think that's true. Yuuji, my boy, my broski, you really should listen to girl when she says, you don't understand girls. I feel like they might be the authority in this issue.
何を言っても分かってくれなそうだから、単刀直入、一発必中で伝えます。ちゃんと聞いて。
Alright, idiot. Give me 5 of your brain cells and just listen for a second. Fine, spare me the attitude and just say it already. After a light snap of the fingers, Michiru earnestly rests a hand on top of my thigh.
デートしてほしいの。この子と。
Interesting how Dark Michiru says, I want you to. She's like, look, freaking date her. Date, huh? You'll have to elaborate. I don't understand why I should go on a date with you.
だから、私じゃない。
Not me.
この子と。分かった？それで、君から誘ってくれない？
She's like, look, it's not me. I want you to date Light Michiru. Hold on a second. Why do I have to go on a date with Michiru? And even if I did have some obligation along those lines, I don't understand why it matters that I propose the idea.
わからない。わかんないの？わかるでしょ。
We're dealing... Okay, I always make jokes about Den's main characters, and frankly, I'm guessing that a lot of this is his upbringing and whatever, like, abhorrent like hellhole that he was raised in militarily, just didn't have room for actual relationships or relationship advice for whatever reason. But good grief, man. You'd think he'd at least have picked up on things like, I don't know, reading a book about, like a young adult fiction book about how, like, God, I really relating with Dark Michiru here. It's just like, please, like, take bread, put it on the other side. Like, you're being an idiot sandwich right now. Cut it out. An expression of genuine surprise on her face, Michiru peers into my eyes.
この子が恥ずかしがりだからよ。それに怖いのよ。もし断られたら、今後どう接していいかわからないじゃない。
Considering how petrified that she is, the fact that she's even going this far to try to like dress in a way that he might find attractive, to approach him herself when everything that she knows screams that he should be the one approaching her, like, it's genuinely impressive. Like, you should be honored. Like, even if you have no feelings for the girl, like, he should at least hopefully understand what it means that she's going to these lengths, even if it's utter failings at this point. That's not a discredit of her personality, nor would it be of you. If you who are watching this have struggled or feel like you just have not been able to bring yourself to, I don't know, ask out a person you're interested in or even like approach the subject, that's not a failing on your part. It's scary. It's terrifying because you care a lot about the way the person responds. And while you can say to yourself, yeah, the worst they could say is no, that's a pretty devastating thing to happen. It's like I said before, and like my biggest crush in high school was a girl who I really genuinely like had fallen in love with and was terrified of losing. So even when it got to the point where we were messaging each other every day, where we were having in-depth conversations, where she had been sending me signals for a while that like we could probably move forward with this and actually pursue and see what ended up happening, we were both kind of terrified of losing the years and years of friendship we'd built up. And so I know what it's like to feel like you're dancing on that precipice of like maybe things could be actualized, but it's scary because you're terrified of what would happen if not. And so like, I know exactly what this feels like. And we didn't have a middleman or middle girl or middle personality. What, she's never been turned down before?
そうじゃなくて、デート自体したことないのよ。少なくとも私が見てるうちはそんなことは一回もなかった。
Okay.
だからね。
So we just learned something really interesting here. In the time I've been watching her. So Dark Michiru hasn't been a part of this whole formula for her whole life. In fact, she might even be a fairly recent addition, considering the fact that she's assuming that like she might have been involved in a potential dating scene before Dark Michiru was on board. So that would imply that Dark Michiru was something that got introduced maybe in like the early teens, something like that. I don't know. I refuse.
なんで?
In answer to Michiru's predictable response, I clear my throat and begin to explain. Why do you get to decide this? If Michiru really wants me to date her, she can try saying so herself. Moving things along while she isn't here strikes me as meddling.
こんなに説明しても分かってくれないなんて。本当に頭カッチカチですね。
It's interesting because Yuuji might have a good point right there, actually. It's like, look, it sucks, but it is kind of important that she fight that fight, overcoming her own weaknesses. Because if it's overcome for her, that's troublesome. That is not ideal. You think? Personally, I think holding a conversation with someone like you demonstrates a fair degree of mental flexibility.
うるさい。そうやっていつまでも長々と説明してればいいじゃない。はいはい、わかりましたよ。そうですか、そうですか。
Oh, she's genuinely upset. Oh no. She comes across very kudere, Dark Michiru, but like we're getting some genuine emotion here. Like I feel like she's about to punch us in the face. Michiru stands up from her seat and flaps her hands around in an exaggerated gesture of exasperation.
本当に君ってめんどくさい人。
Not sure if you're one to be talking, little Miss Trouble. Keeping my thought to myself, I pick up the fallen paperback book and search for the page I'd left it off on. Previously, Michiru told me she found it frightening to have problems solved behind her back. I'm not about to start agreeing to secret plans for her benefit. Ooh, yeah! Hey, Yuuji. You might be an idiot, but he's kind of a right idiot. Yeah. It is kind of scary for her to just black out, wake up, and everything that she wanted is being gifted to her. That would be, like, existentially horrifying. Okay, I like that. Running my eyes along the printed line, I return to enjoying the story, but after a little while, I once again feel the gaze of a certain someone on my face.
No.
Okay, I'm getting an interesting, like, this is an interesting feeling they're going for here. This idea that Kitty Meow, the presence of Kitty Meow, is a fairly strong indication of which Michiru we are interacting with. Because the cat has fallen in love with Light Michiru. Dark Michiru seems to not really care for the cat. And so, if the cat's not on her head, it's kind of giving us this tell, which I'm guessing it means it will also absolutely do a reverse Uno on us at some point and break that pattern. But for now, it seems to be a reliable way to try and communicate which Michiru we're dealing with, which is cool. The pitching. Like, it's very important in Japanese. It's something I definitely don't comprehend very well, but I do understand. There's a great, like, YouTube channel. Shoot. I should try and look it up. But, actually, the problem is I follow a few of them, but there's one in particular I remember talking about, like, where he discusses how pitch is so important to learning Japanese that he often is frustrated by people who are trying to learn, who are struggling because pitch is something that's not often covered by many of the options for learning Japanese outside of Japan. And so he tries to talk about it a lot in his videos. But the pitch here is so highly exaggerated. I love it. Like, goes, like, her voice cracking. Her voice clearly came out louder and higher in pitch than she expected. With a surprised little start, she takes it from the top. She's like, oh my gosh. What's wrong? Usual Michiru?
いつもの？そうよ。いつものミチルよ。別に緊張なんてしてないんだからね。
Did she just have like a little like a dribble come out? She had to like fix it, like where you're salivating so much that you just start to get a drool a bit, but like that's because you're nervous. It's so human. Oh my gosh, that's such a real thing. Not quite what I meant, but whatever.
暇でしょ？あんたさ、暇よね。
That's a way to say that, yes. Now that I know what's going on, it's actually really adorable. I flap the book in my hand in a general direction. I'm reading.
あ、いや、そうじゃなくて、ほら、暇でしょ？退屈でしょ？退屈だから本を読んでるんでしょ？
Not really. You do know I enjoy books, right? Even if I were to run out of reading material, I find myself with nothing else to do. I'd be perfectly content reading a book from the beginning.
じゃあ別の聞き方。あんたさ、忙しくて仕方ない。もうやることが多くて即死。
She's trying so hard to get to an organic point in a conversation where she can, like, she's practiced like a talk, right? And a big part of the initial conversation is getting him to admit that it wouldn't be a bother to ask him to do an activity, essentially. And she's just trying to get the conversation started by getting to that point, and he just keeps deferring it. And it's, I'm having a hard time imagining how one could become busy to the point of instant death, but either way, I can't say my plate is particularly full at the moment.
でしょ？そうよね。そうだよね。
She's like, yes!
私もさ、そう言うと思ってね。だよね。
She's like, okay, stage 1 complete.
実はね、私も忙しくないのよね。逆に暇なのよ。これすごくない？こんな広い世界にそんなに忙しくもない二人が出会うなんて奇跡じゃない？
Oh my gosh, Michiru, this is what you practiced. Oh no. Sure, that's nice. Alright, I'm going to get back to my book now.
ちょっと待って。そういうことじゃなくてね。つまりさ、だからさ、せっかく寮に二人きりなんだし、奇跡的なほどの忙しくなささだし。
I'd be so bad at this because at this point, like I agree with Yuuji. I'd want her to say it herself, even if it's blundered, even if it's crappy. I'd still want her to like give it her all. But I would be a grinning idiot. I'd just be so like, it's so adorably awkward. I wouldn't be able to help myself.
こういつもと違うことしてもいいんじゃないかって。
There's that pitch again. She's going to climb in the mountain. Not necessary. All right, I'm gonna get back to my book now. Yuuji!
ちょっと待ってだからねほらねダメかこれダメかにゃーわかった寝ます 帰って寝ます
Michiru is so transparently desperate that I can't help feeling a little sympathy. I suppose it couldn't hurt to play along with the girls' games. Well, hold on. I think I do. I think you know I do regular training courses every morning, but tomorrow I was thinking about doing a little running later on as well. What do you think? Want to come along for a little afternoon marathon?
行く
Holy crap! She's like, yes! A fearsomely rapid response.
いや別に行きたいわけじゃないんだからねでもそうだ
Tsundere defenses?
調べないとほら予定が入ってるかもしれないし
Put up the social barriers! Michiru turns her back to me and begins rustling around furtively. What, you got a day planner on you?
うっせえわねこっち見ないでよね今スケジュールの確認に忙しいんだから
Don't call me out my BS! Mind if I take a look?
いやいいから待ってて今確認中
he's so meticulous about picking apart all of her like inconsistencies. Michiru pretends to tap buttons on a calculator. Apparently, this is her idea of what checking a schedule involves. Hey, modern day it does. Well, managed to adjust your schedule? Any conflicting appointments?
なかった
I see. In that case, be in front of the school gate at 1 in the afternoon tomorrow. I'll take you along with me.
いやそうねわかったわあんた遅れたら承知しないからね浮かれてる的な意味じゃなくて時間厳守的な意味のみで承知しないからね
Again, remember, my prediction and guess about Light Michiru is like, this tsundere is about, like, it's a defense. Actually, now that I think about it, the defense makes a lot more sense because the idea is that she doesn't trust herself. She's terrified because she has blank out moments where people have entire conversations with her that she doesn't understand. So her tsundere act might just not just like I was always theorized that it was a way of defending like what she believes her true self is. Maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's simply her defense mechanism for explaining why she might not remember things is because she's like, oh, if I act like a tsundere and I act like I don't know what's going on about a certain situation, people will just assume it's part of the tsundere act. And that's a much better, even a crappy tsundere act is a better explanation than the truth, which is terrifying. Which is, I don't remember any of that happened, and I don't know why that things worked out that way. So like it's a part of her defense mechanism, which is like really interesting. It makes a lot of sense now, actually. Ooh, that's a lot more depth than I anticipated. Fine, sure, whatever.
それじゃああんたがそこまで言うなら仕方ないから明日
Michiru, I don't recall begging you. Stop.
何も言わなくていいから危ない
Close. Wait, that was close to what? She's like, shh, stop. What was close?
いいからね仕方ないから明日行くからね
Oh,
それじゃあ
she's so happy. I don't think she's realized that she's just signed up to go jogging with him. Like, he's probably planning to make it fairly light because he's understanding, like, it's not something she normally does, and she clearly just wants to spend time with him. But in his mind, a light marathon is probably still, like, several, like, miles or kilometers, and I don't think she realizes that. She's just so happy to have some, like, I get to have, like, some me time with Yuuji. Maybe even a date? Question mark? And so it was agreed that Michiru would join me in training. I was planning a fairly long distance course though. Wonder if she'll be alright.
やっ
Aw, that's really cute. Also, I don't remember saying a word about a date. That's freaking adorable, though. All right. We're going to stop here because that's like, it's not the longest episode I could do. But let's just enjoy this date, whatever it turns out being, to its fullest together. Thank you so much for being here today. Oh my gosh. Okay. I imagine that this is an interesting episode where we didn't actually cover a whole lot because I ended up tangenting a lot. But it's, again, part of the reason why I think the Michiru route is so far really just vibing with me is not only do I find her adorably, like adorably cute, but I can relate on a lot of levels, ironically. And it's so interesting because, again, it's like a dichotomy of what I experienced, but on the fundamentals, it's exactly the same. I never struggled with socializing. I never struggled with like being able to communicate with people and even getting together with people. And like, ironically, despite the fact that I know I was far from like the most attractive person in my grade, I was definitely a very large individual. So I know physically I wasn't at all, but I still managed to have a very successful dating life. I never really struggled to have a date if I wanted to go to a function that had a date, like going to dances. In fact, like we have, like I mentioned this before, but we had Sadie Hawkins dances. They were dances where like it was tradition for the girl to approach the guy to ask. And I got asked to almost every single one in my high school years. Like, it wasn't like I struggled to have like a pleasant company, but you guys also need to understand a lot of these dates were very casual. At least to me, they were. Unfortunately, that wasn't always the case. I do know I accidentally brushed off people who genuinely were interested in going on official dates with me because I just didn't see it that way. But at the same time, like it was something that was fairly natural for me. It was like, it was waters I was willing and able to trek. And even asking that initial date, while nerve-wracking, was not the most difficult thing for me, especially in college. I got a lot more confident like when I got to college, and so I could meet a girl, talk to her a few times, and I could usually initiate one or two dates like pretty well. But then the treacherous waters of actual progress in a relationship, usually not. But regardless of that, it's really funny to me to see the struggles here because the times when I did struggle, again, came down to the people whom I genuinely cared and fell in love with. Because that process for me usually started as a friendship and usually took a long time to go from like, hey, I think dating could be kind of interesting, let's see where this goes, to a like, I think I genuinely could like see myself being with you the rest of my life because we just get along so well, but I'm terrified of throwing aside this wonderful friendship that means so much to me. And it's like that nerve-wracking feeling is very similar to what I think Michiru is going through because, again, she's just never had a person I think she's ever considered genuinely potentially wanting to be in a relationship with. This is the first guy that she's like, I actually want to date this person. Like, I genuinely want this to happen. Like, she might have daydreamed about it, maybe even had potential, guys she would be interested in. But, like, this is the first, like, oh, like, I'm really serious about this, and maybe there's actually a shot, and it's scaring her to death, and I get that feeling for sure. I imagine a lot of you can relate to that too. And now, because it's a visual novel, I anticipate that while there might be issues, like more likely than not, things are going to go relatively smoothly. Whereas in real life, that's a whole other matter, where things are not likely to go south, like that badly south, but also more relationships fail than succeed. It's just the nature of life. So, scary. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Oh, next week's going to be fun. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. I'm really excited to be able to see where we can take this in the future and ultimately what's going to happen. But honestly, I'm going to be surprised if I enjoy other routes as much as I'm enjoying this route right now. Like, I mean, I don't know. I've yet to experience them. So I hopefully will be wrong. I hope that the other routes are going to be more impressive. It'd be amazing if this is the worst one, but I'm genuinely having such a fun time because I can relate so hard with Michiru, and I'm, again, like, even her crazy antics, I'm finding more amusing than annoying, which is, I'm guessing, isn't something that most of you would agree with me on. I do think spitting would be pretty obnoxious, though. Like, that's something I'd be like, please, you need to stop that. But everything else has been mostly adorably adorable, so I can get behind it. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. I'm looking forward to this. This month's going to be a spicy one because I've got some fun ideas and some, I got some cooking I'm doing in the background right now, and I can't help but be really excited about it because it's a very special project. And when it comes, like when the day arrives when like this happens, I think it's going to be really fun to see your reactions to it. I will say though, and I'll bring this up multiple times this coming month just because I'm kind of getting ready for, like, I'm anticipating about a month before the project's finalized. It's not a visual novel one, but I think it's going to be genuinely enjoyable, and I hope you'll give it a shot when it comes out. Anyway, I'll talk more about that later. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're having a great day. I hope you have a good start to your weekend. But until next video watching me, I'll see me next. I'll see you there.